This is my first time repairing a hole in a finished painting, and this is how it went. This was a tear in my canvas caused by my lovely kitty cat. It wasn't entirely her fault. The painting was somewhere accessible. I didn't record exactly how I repaired it, but I will show you exactly what materials I use and my step-by-step process. The 3 materials needed are PVA glue, so I used Elmer's glue, gesso, and canvas cloth. Ideally, I would have wanted to use unprimed canvas fabric, but since the amount that I needed was so small, I needed inches, and Blix only sells their canvas fabric by the yard. So I went ahead and I just bought this 4x4 inch primed canvas because I knew it'd be enough for what I needed it for, and it was about like $3. The tear in my painting is about 1 centimeter wide, so I kept that in mind when I cut out my tester strip. This is what the canvas looks like. So the piece that I showed on the right hand side was the first piece that I cut, and the piece on the left is the piece that I ended up using. That unprimed side is the piece that I used to actually lay onto the tear, so I brushed the tear so that it would close up. I added some PVA glue with a paintbrush, and then I added gesso. In my head, it just made more sense for the unprimed side to stick onto the tear because I felt as if it would seep in more and create a stronger bond. And then I added 2 thin layers of glue and gesso on that primed side to seal it in. Here I am trying to color match because in addition to sealing up the hole, I also have to restore the paint on the front. That first color wasn't quite a match, but here is the second color that I mixed up, and I put them on an index card to see how they oxidize. And here is my clingy kitty cat, aka the culprit. I felt pretty confident about the second color that I mixed up, so here I am testing it, see if they're similar, seeing if they match before I go ahead and add it onto the actual painting. Since the tear in this painting wasn't super big, I did not sand it down after adding the glue and gesso and allowing it to dry. So I'm being very intentional about how I place my paint onto the painting. I'm doing sort of like a stipple motion to make sure that the paint actually gets into the cracks of where that tear is. Although there is no longer a tear, it's obviously not, completely flat. Once I took my paintbrush off of the painting, I realized that the color was a teensy bit too dark. So I whipped up a lighter color. I added a little more white, a little more yellow. So I'm adding that on top. Again, I'm being very intentional. I do not want that paint to look very crummy or very thick. I want it to be an even layer. So I'm sort of mixing in that last color with the new color since the last color was still wet on the painting. So at this point, I was pretty satisfied with how it looks. This painting is very special to me because it is a portrait of my grandma. Being that this is my first time repairing a painting, I am satisfied with how it came out. Thank you for watching.